A hero is finally laid to rest with honors, and after many decades, his loved ones have some closure. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Carla Chiquetto.
I'm Marcella Lee. Jesus Garcia was killed during the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941, but his remains weren't identified until 2019.
News 8's Brian White attended the funeral today and spoke with his family.
A very special honor for this Navy veteran to be laid to rest here at Fort Rosecrans. It's been a long journey for Jesus Garcia, and for his family, this means closure. Military honors for Navy veteran Jesus Garcia. While taps was played for the fallen hero, the American flag was folded 13 times over his casket and given to his nephew Sonny.
The magnitude is huge.
Jesus Garcia, who was born in Guam, died at the age of 19 when the ship he was aboard capsized during the attack on Pearl Harbor nearly 80 years ago. Scientists were able to identify his remains just a few years ago.
We are truly, truly grateful to the United States Navy for never giving up.
The family was notified by the Navy in 2019, but due to the pandemic, the funeral services were delayed until now.
This is overwhelming. We are just so grateful that the military followed through, and after all these years that we're able to come together as a family to honor our uncle.
Sonny shared emotional words at the morning prayer service held at the Santa Sofia Catholic Church in Spring Valley.
There will be one family, the Garcia family, that will always pay attention to what happened that Sunday. We lost our uncle.
10 family members traveled from Texas to be here for this honor, and for them, this brings meaningful closure.
To now be able to put him to rest as a family it's amazing.
More than anything, they're proud of his service and the sacrifice he gave for this country and our freedom.
I think our family's just filled with gratitude, the whole family, that we're able to come together and say our final words to him.
Sonny believes that the Fort Rosecrans National Cemetery is the perfect setting for his uncle's burial and final resting place.
It overlooks the San Diego harbor and all the Navy and military vessels, and so yeah, it's a perfect setting for a great end to a long journey for him, 80 years.
In Point Loma, Brian White for News 8.
Jace Tingler is out as manager of the San Diego Padres after a season that started with so much promise, ended in major disappointment.
News 8's John Howard is here now with more on today's firing. John, not unexpected, but still lots of questions now. What happens next?
What happens next? And some call it the most disappointing season in Padres history. I would call it the most underachieving season in Padres history, considering the lineup they had. Coming off a year in which they made the playoffs for the first time in 13 seasons, they added frontline pitching talent in the offseason, and we were all set for a wonderful 6-month ride to the playoffs. But midway through the year, things started to rattle, and in the final 2 months, the wheels popped off. It was a free fall, the likes we haven't seen in ages. While the Padres had their share of injuries, especially on the pitching staff, the last month of the season, the team performed so poorly, it was clear the players were no longer motivated to play for their manager. In sports talk, Tingler had lost the team. Today, A.J. Preller said the team failed to meet expectations.
We've got to, make sure everybody's really clear on what's expected, and I don't think we really got there this year. And that's something that I think I've got to do a better job with here as we get into the off season. And then, I think of the way it works and the way it's worked here in the past, it was really clear, like, hey, this is what the expectations are, and this is what we need to do if we're going to be successful, either on an individual player level or a group level. And then it's up to the coaches to do their job to execute it, and that part I've got to get right here going forward.
Up next, who will be the next manager? Bruce Bochy and Phil Nevin are two names being mentioned. Yankees manager Aaron Boone is another. He has family roots in La Mesa, and his contract with New York has not been renewed. We'll continue to follow the story as it goes.
All right. Thanks, John. An 18-year-old man was arraigned today for 2 separate child molestation cases. Police say there could be more victims locally.
David Miguel Corona was arrested at the scene of the crime in the second alleged molestation incident. News 8's Kirsten Holmes joins us now live with details. Kirsten?
I'm here at the San Diego County Courthouse where 18-year-old David Miguel Corona was arraigned virtually. I have here in my hand a digital copy of the criminal complaint against him, where police say that he groped 2 young girls, one at a Target on Balboa, the other at a Goodwill store in La Jolla. And now parents all across our area have to have some pretty uncomfortable conversations with their kids.
I'll confront him straight away. I want to know what's happening. I want to know the truth of the matter. That's not okay. I wouldn't want nobody touching my little sister. That makes me so uncomfortable, so angry inside.
Diego Rodriguez shops at the Target on Balboa with his family and a little sister and says he would do anything to protect them.
I hope all the victims, they find the healing that they need.
Catch frequents La Jolla and says hearing news like this is hard to take in, but also says
putting this on television is important for the sake of prevention and the safety of the public.
On October 1st, just before 10 p.m., San Diego police got a call about an 11-year-old girl who had been molested inside of Target while the family was shopping.
He enters pleas of not guilty.
Police say the suspect, 18-year-old David Miguel Corona, ran away before he could get caught. Then on October 3rd, around 5:30 p.m., San Diego police got another call about a 13-year-old girl getting molested, this time in a Goodwill store in La Jolla. Also this time, police were able to arrest Corona before he could get away.
When you go to the store,
Simone shops at the Target and says it's sad that kids are in danger this way.
Like, they're not supposed to have to, watch for themselves all the time, so it's definitely alarming.
It doesn't make no sense how people could do that to others. Like, I have my little sister and I care so much for her. I'll never see her in danger. That's horrible.
Diego Rodriguez says it's important to have serious conversations with your children and watch out.
A lot of people have to keep their eyes open now because it's a possibility that something horrible could happen to their family members or to themselves.
Diego has a message for the suspect and anyone who would think to do this.
You need to go within and figure out what's wrong with you, because you cannot be expressing this negativity out into the universe, out into the world. That is not right. It's not acceptable whatsoever.
We reached out to Target and to Goodwill to see what they had to say about the incidents. First of all, Goodwill says that they are cooperating with the investigation, and Target says they have no tolerance for this kind of behavior in their stores, and they're also cooperating with San Diego police. Now, back to you, Carlo.
So, Kirsten, people are obviously worried about this. What is the police message tonight for the community?
Yeah, police say that this is an ongoing and active investigation. They say if you think you may have seen anything in the Target or the Goodwill store, to please come forward. They also say that if you or someone you know may have been a victim of a crime like this, to please call police.
All right, Kirsten Holmes reporting live. Thanks, Kirsten.
Los Angeles city leaders have passed one of the nation's strictest COVID vaccine mandates. The sweeping measure requires shots for everyone entering bars, restaurants, salons, gyms, and even Lakers games. Supporters say it will help prevent another COVID surge. Critics have concerns about enforcement. They also say it will cause confusion about a Los Angeles County mandate scheduled to take effect next month that only applies to bars, breweries, and nightclubs.
Federal investigators say a ship's anchor could have ruptured the pipeline that sent roughly 130,000 gallons of heavy crude oil into the ocean off the Orange County coast. They also say pipeline workers for Beta Offshore, that's the company that owns the pipeline, noticed a low-pressure alarm around 2:30 Saturday morning, but they did not shut it down until 6 a.m. The cleanup effort is ongoing.
We're working with our local and state partners, including the responsible party that's helping clean up this. They've contracted third-party companies to come out here, skim the water, and get some of the oil off.
The Coast Guard says some of the oil has been breaking up naturally in ocean currents.
The battle over sidewalk vendors at our beaches is heating up again.
This time, locals are taking up sidewalk space for their own city laws that they're pushing to pass.
Newsday's Abby Alford has more on the story from Ocean Beach on a day that draws big crowds and big concerns.
Vendors have taken over Veterans Park in Ocean Beach. They say they're just trying to make a living, but some of the neighbors who live here say something's got to give.
It's almost like glitter or something.
Chalk art, gyms, jewelry, clothes, street vendors just trying to make a buck.
We get here about 3 a.m., 3:15 a.m. every morning. Well, every Wednesday morning.
Wednesdays in Ocean Beach is farmers market night that draws a lot of foot traffic.
It just brings in a lot of riffraff.
This is my family, and this is how everybody pays their bills.
Well, we understand people are just trying to make money, but There's just no control at all down here, and it's just a free-for-all.
And vendors want to keep it that way.
Free-for-all.
There's been complaints of parks and sidewalks, not just in OB, but all over San Diego, being taken over by street vendors.
Blatantly selling marijuana. Go over there and buy some shrooms if you want, and that's not acceptable in my opinion. It's not safe.
So last week, a group of locals found their own space and put up a tent now called Respect OB.
We are not here for any kind of specific anti-vendor situation.
But Michael Copley, who spearheaded Respect OB, is gathering hundreds of signatures to encourage the city to come up with sustainable regulations. It's also gaining support from the Ocean Beach Town Council and OB Market Association.
How does anyone that owns their own business remain sustainable? And right now, there's nothing to help these vendors, as well as nothing to keep the community safe from bad actors.
Although San Diego does not allow the sale of goods without a permit on public property, San Diego police say they can't enforce it because Senate Bill 946 trumps it, which decriminalizes street vendors in the absence of a local permitting program. That is, unless there's a health and safety issue.
Why would you pay $75 when you can get a booth here for free?
Council President Dr. Jennifer Campbell, who also represents many of the beach towns, emailed NewsAid a statement, in part writing she and staff have been working on an ordinance since June that needs to be enforceable and fair for all people across the city.
If the community really wanted us out of here, we would not be here. This is OB. People would come up and flip our tables over.
But Respect OB says something needs to be done to bring back their mantra.
Peace and love, OB.
Council President Jennifer Campbell says that her ordinance is coming soon, but did not have a timeline. She's asking other agencies, such as the Health Department, to step up enforcement.
Breaking news just in. Women in Texas can get legal abortions once again after a new ruling just handed down, temporarily blocking a controversial law that banned the procedure. A federal judge there just ordered Texas to suspend the law, which was passed last month. It is the most restrictive in the country, outlawing abortions after about 6 weeks with no exemptions for incest or rape. Tonight's ruling was the result of a lawsuit brought by the Biden administration, which argued the law violates women's constitutional right to abortions. That ruling will likely be appealed.